Okay, we're going to talk about identifying your BPD symptoms today. And in the book, it has you place a check mark next to any description that matches how you see the world and how you act and react. But what I suggest you do is if it sounds like you, write it down. Frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. That is number one. Frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. And their example is Betty perceived that her boyfriend was abandoning her because he didn't respond to her gift quickly enough, which drove her to break up with him, causing her to feel even more abandoned. She had a history of inappropriate behavior related to feeling abandoned. I think we all have a history of inappropriate behavior related to feeling abandoned. I don't think that anyone takes being abandoned easily. I think that those of us with BPD take it a step farther and to perceive that people are going to abandon us when that isn't even in their thoughts. But we are so sure that they are going to abandon us that we take efforts to make that not happen. And if we think we can't stop it, if we think there's no way to stop that person from leaving us, we're going to go out of our way to leave them first. Because that's how it hurts less, I think. The second one, a pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between extremes of idealization and devaluation. So that's splitting. When Betty met Stephen, she was head over heels in love and wanted to talk with him every day, but she broke up with him, referring to him as the devil, when he didn't respond quickly enough to her text about a gift she'd left on his doorstep. She had similar experiences with her 3 previous boyfriends. I think that splitting is one of the hardest parts of BPD because one minute our people are our people. We love them and everything they do is right and kind and great and wonderful and perfect. And then they do some tiny thing and suddenly we flip. We switch. We, yeah, we flip on them. And they are a piece of poop that is not worthy of being on this earth. And we will do anything we can to make sure everyone knows how we feel about them. Both times, I guess, is true. We are really great at pushing people up, and we are really great at bringing them back down again. And that's what splitting is. That's number 2. Number 3, identity disturbance, markedly and persistently unstable self-image or sense of self. So we don't know who we are. And we try to figure that out by being around other people and copying them. And, we might find something from one person that we keep, something from another person we keep, until maybe at the end of our lives we finally know who we are, or we're just a patchwork of bits and pieces that we've kept from other people along the way. Their example was Betty had difficulty making and keeping friends, as she tended to change the types of people she liked to spend time with, and her views and values changed to match them. The next one, impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging. For example, spending, sex, substance abuse, reckless driving, or binge eating. When she wasn't in a relationship, Betty compulsively searched the internet for her next encounter. She drove recklessly and had 2 DWIs, and she shoplifted if things got too boring. So people with BPD are impulsive. We spend too much money. We have sex too much with the wrong kinds of people. We drive crazy. We eat a lot. A lot of people cut themselves. I see that that's not there, but to me it is an impulsive act at times. So Anyway, next, recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures or threats, or self-mutilating behavior. The only one I was not able to check, or the only one I was able to leave unchecked, depending upon how you look at it. Betty had a history of self-mutilation, cutting her arms or legs when she was under stress or feeling lonely. She cut her arms after breaking up with Stephen. And I don't do that. So that doesn't make me better than anyone else. That just is the one thing that a lot of people with BPD do that I don't. It is the one thing that doesn't fit me. The next one, affective instability due to a marked reactivity of mood. For example, intense episodic dysphoria, irritability, or anxiety usually lasting a few hours and only rarely more than a few days. So basically, I feel like what that means is your mood changes all the time. You can go from happy to sad to irritable to anxious to worried to happy all in a day. Over the course of a few hours, your mood can change. Sometimes over the course of a few hours, your mood can change 4 or 5 times. And let me tell you how exhausting that is. It is really exhausting. I imagine it's not fun for those people around us. I can guarantee you it's not fun for us either. We have no control over where those moods are going. Their example, when she wasn't around her friends, Betty often curled up on her bed and cried or grasped for ways to calm herself and feel connected, such as going on texting sprees or scouring dating sites for her next hookup. So when she's around people, she's able to be happy and upbeat and everything feels fine, but when she is alone, things don't feel fine. Chronic feelings of emptiness is the next one. Chronic feelings of emptiness. Betty often felt alone, even when she was hooking up or was with a significant other. She'd say, "I'm usually alone in a crowded room." And I think that's probably true for a lot of people. A lot of people. I would say that is probably true for a lot of people with BPD. You feel empty, you feel like there's just this hole, this pit of emptiness that is never going to be filled. Interesting. The next one is inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. For example, frequent displays of temper, constant rage, recurrent physical fights. I get angry a lot, I do. Hi, and the camera turned off before I was able to finish. The last and final of the 9 symptoms or criteria for BPD, and it is transient stress-related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. Paranoid ideation is being afraid that others are plotting against you, and disassociation is mentally separating from physical or emotional experiences, or both. And the example is, when under a high degree of stress, Betty often felt detached from her body and the world around her, and reported that she felt like she was a puppet with a stranger working her strings. And then they want you to write down the number of check marks that you got, the number of circles. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, and check back next time for our next video. Thank you. Bye.